Welcome to another AGM Perspective where we discuss real issues in real time. If you're new to the channel, my name is AGM, your brother from another mother. I come to you tonight in the name of peace, love, discipline, self-defense, and black power. Black power, people. Power to the people. Now, today's topic is John Pombe Magufuli. I'd like to send condolences to the President of Tanzania's family for their loss, for all our losses. Because whenever we lose a great man, it affects us all. This brother died at the age of 61 from a pre-existing condition, a heart condition that he has had for more than 10 years. Salute. John Magufuli, our president's president. Now, this brother here is in a class all by itself. Why do I say that? Most presidents, especially on the continent of Africa, are usually puppets. I'm going to tell it straight. They bend to Western pressures, Eastern pressures, European pressures. They bend as the wind come, they go with the wind. Not this brother here. That's why I call the brother a lion. Now, this brother was an avid promoter of the Pan-African principles and teachings of independence, nation building, and this brother dared go against the status quo of European and Eastern pressures. The brother did not want to accept loans from China. He promoted that everybody scale back, even government workers, whoever, scale back. Harness the resources from the country to do work on the infrastructure that needed to be done. The brother promoted the country feeding itself. He promoted agriculture, mass agriculture, so that they could feed the nation. And numerous other things. The brother was against corruption. Whenever he saw or found corruption, he weeded it out. Oftentimes, he'd pop up on these corrupt people and do investigations to root out the corruption. So not only was the brother walking the walk that he was talking, he was manifesting in his actions. Anything that he was speaking about or propagating, the brother was manifesting in his ways and action. These are the things that made the brother great. When the COVID came along, the WHO approached the man. They wanted him to lock down the country because we understand that this pharmaceutical business is a big multi-billion or trillion-dollar business. I mean, 15 billion in profits alone for 1 year. You got these people pumping out vaccines, so many millions of doses, and some of these vaccines are causing deep vein thrombosis, which is blood clots in a lot of people. I'm not saying all the people, but certain people that take these vaccines are turning up dead. I'm not saying all the vaccines, but a large amount of doses affect people in different ways. And there's different kinds of doses. Do your research. Just because somebody tell you that this vaccine is good, that don't mean you take it. Now this brother, John Magufuli, was a brother who could think for himself. He was thinking about the good of the people, the welfare of the people. He didn't just jump on what they said, oh, lock down the country and this and that. Here's some tests, use these tests. The brother got the tests. He ran the tests on some vegetation and some livestock. And guess what? These tests that they offered and gave to this man came back positive. Testing vegetation and livestock. So this man said, yo, you know what? Something is wrong. These tests is not credible. But you want me to use these tests on my people, and when these tests read back positive, you want me to give you a report on that so that you could capitalize on the statistics. I'm not going to play that game. He told him straight out, I'm not going to play that game. Now, I'm not saying that there's foul play involved. I can't say that. I wasn't there. I don't know for sure. But we understand that when we have certain people that don't play ball, and this is a global game, this COVID is a global game, these statistics instill fear in people to take the vaccine. These vaccine companies, these corporations, are extorting countries. They are telling countries, listen, for us to give you this vaccine, we need you to do X, Y, Z. We need you to put up collateral. We need you, because we don't want liability for this, we want you to foot the bill. If any liability come along, and we don't want to be responsible. We want you to be responsible. We want you to take the weight for the liability. Anything that happens, we're going to pass the liability over to you. Once we agree on certain things, then you could get the vaccine. Certain collaterals, certain bases that you have, army bases, whatever, we need that as collateral. There's a lot going on behind the scenes that you don't know. And if you don't read and you don't do your research, you'll never know. You'll always be in the dark. People will just tell you things and you just believe it. I got my cousins, they running to get this vaccine. I said, why are you running to get a vaccine that you know nothing about? Did you read up? Are you sick? You got people taking this vaccine in Israel. They done took this vaccine, both doses, and is still catching COVID. You figure that out. So now, like I said, this brother, John Magufuli, during his presidency, had made a lot of strong enemies because he was a stand-up individual. He was a leader that had his own mind. He was nobody's puppet. When they say lock down the country, he said, man, I got poor people to feed. Poor people depend, they need that money. I can't lock down. If I lock down, what's going to happen to them? Now, after this man's death, we're going to have a lot of propaganda coming up saying this and that. But we have to think for ourselves. As I said before, you have people that took this vaccine and still contracted COVID after the vaccine. You want these pharmaceutical companies that work with WHO, in my opinion, and this is AGM perspective, where I give my perspective, my personal opinion, my personal perspective, is that they are all in cahoots together. The ones with the statistics invoke the fear into the populations around the world, prompting people to run and get that vaccine because they're in a state of near panic. Now, if you think that imminent death is imminent, you're going to want to do what you can to help yourself, and they count on it. That's why they need these statistics. The statistics, you believe the statistics when you hear them, because you don't see the dead bodies. You don't know what's taking place around the world. You're going by what they say. So they validate their argument and the people dying by statistics, even though these statistics might be falsified. Just like when AIDS came out. The AIDS was not killing people, but they made it seem like the AIDS was killing people. They was dying of AIDS-related complications, pneumonia, tuberculosis. Those was the things that was killing people. But because they was putting out this AIDS medicine and pumping fear into the populace of the world, everybody felt that they had to run out and get those drugs to keep from catching AIDS. These pharmaceutical companies care about profits. It's not about taking care of nobody. Don't go for that. Don't go for the old okie doke. Don't go for the banana in the tailpipe trick. They don't care about people, especially black people. They care about profits. Don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. These pharmaceutical companies are holding countries ransom. Them and their partners is instilling fear into the populace with these fake reports, these manufacturers. I'm not saying COVID is not real. That's not what I'm saying. COVID is real. But COVID is no different from anything else. It's no different from no flu or whatever you might contract. But because they hype it up, you think that COVID is a super bug or a super illness. So now you got people taking that RNA shot, then they got the DNA shot. They all got all these different shots to give to people and to try on people, and people is falling for it. Why? Because they believe the lie that they need to get inoculated against COVID. You don't believe me? Check the reports on Israel. Like I said, people done got 2 doses and they still catching COVID. You have a lot of countries that suspended. You got about 70 countries that put the brakes on COVID vaccine because a lot of people were catching blood clots, and the blood clots was killing people. Not was, still killing people. Maybe it'll affect people different ways, but I'm not the one who's trying to find out. I'm not trying to find out how it affects me. I'm not playing Russian roulette with my life. I don't want to become no statistic, and I'm sure you don't either. We have always been the battery of the matrix. They always use black lives as footstools to get to where they need to get. We are the energy, the power source that drives the machine. John Magufuli refused to play that game. The brother was a lion. The brother was an independent thinker. And he instilled that in his people. Do for self. Stop relying on foreign powers to come solve your problems. Solve your own problems. Discipline yourself. Abstain from begging for help outside the continent. Be self-reliant. Do for self. Create industry instead of buying products from all over the world. Empower yourselves by creating the products that you consume. That's what this brother taught them. Create your own. We have an awakening going on with a lot of different leaders. The other day, the president of Ghana, where Switzerland and most of the chocolate manufacturers get their cocoa from, flipped the script on the Swiss, told them, listen, man, we're going to stop importing or exporting our cocoa. Instead of exporting our cocoa, we're going to start manufacturing cocoa products. Meaning they're going to start making a chocolate and every other products that come out of cocoa they're going to start making it for themselves instead of importing it. Now imagine all those countries had these deals locked in from I don't know how long, got a rude awakening when this brother dropped a bomb on them. Now I know they scheming and thinking about all kind of things because, like I said, these people, WS, all they think about is dollars and cents. They don't think about the welfare of a country and what the president of Ghana or Tanzania is trying to do for their people. All they care about is their profit margin. And we understand the history of the WS and what they're capable of doing. So we have to be vigilant. We have to be vigilant today. We have to watch things, be aware of things that seem like gifts. Beware of, imagine, you know somebody's history and their history is rotten to the core, and these people are offering you a gift or something that can save your life, or so they box it up and make you believe that they're offering you help. Are you going to believe that? Are you going to believe anything that comes out of the serpent's mouth? Are you going to relax around a snake and let him move around you? Or are you going to stay on point and watch that snake, every little move that he make, you on him? Physical snake is no different than a snake in character. Don't be fooled. It's the same thing. At least you know when you see a snake what it is. Sometimes you see a man in a business suit with a smile on his face and he looks charitable. You could be duped. But people only get fooled once you allow or start believing that that person is not what you actually perceive them to be. You see? So you fool yourself in essence. Once you allow the thought to enter your mind, you start the process of deception. So in all actuality, you become a party to your own deception. When I see a snake, and I know it's a snake, I don't want to hear nothing that comes out that snake's mouth, because I know it's poisonous, it's lies, it's treachery, it's mayhem, it's chaos. Based on what? Based on the history. History does not lie. History tells us or predicts the future. Once we understand the nature of something, you cannot change your nature. You could modify it, you could camouflage it, but a snake will always be a snake. So therefore, when I hear that this brother died at the age of 61, and I'm going to be listening carefully to investigations, and I hope they do tests and autopsies on his brother to see if the brother was poisoned or whatever, because a lot of these powers feel that once they take him out the picture, if it is the situation where he was an obstacle to them, once they take him out the picture, the next person or the next president will be more easier to work with, will be more easier to manipulate. They'll be able to have their own way. I hope this is not the case, but we have to stay vigilant. We have to watch. Not only the powers that be, but we have to watch the successor also, because if the successor turns around all the things that this brother have accomplished, what does that tell us about this person? That tell us that the successor was also complicit in what happened to this brother. As I said before, this might not be the case, this might not be the situation, but I know what and who